Big Apple. NY. The Knicks are back. Staten Mellow. This dedicated to my city, New York. Official kings in the court. Reach for the ball, a hard lesson gets taught. So bring your skills to the nearest playground. No clown around. Catch a helmet in the minute on a New York playground. The Big Apple's what they call it for short. And basketball is our sport. We play for keeps and never settle for sure. So bring your game when you come to my town. We snatch a crowd. You get embarrassed on the court after you shook to the ground. You get respected when you prove you get down. So say the joke for the clowns. And NYC, we known to go a few rounds. This is the city where you're forced to go hard. You'll get booed out of Dodge and shown the door being the weakest on squads. Rucker Park and summer nights, they stay live. Brothers play for the pride and bragging rights on who's the king of NY. So grab the pill and prepare to go hard. Pick your 12-man squad. Orange and blue, better believe we go hard. This for my city, New York City where it's gritty. Yeah. For my city, never pretty. New York City, sing it with me. Yeah. For my city, New York City where it's gritty. NYC, for my city, never pretty. Yeah. New York City, sing it with me.
New York City, sing it with me. Stills the great Kev Pryor, Knicks Talk Nation Radio, every Monday, 10 to 11. Tonight we live after the game. But before we get into everything, man, Kev, say what's up to the people, my brother.
What's going on, Stills? It's Kevin KP Pryor, LeBron James, the Red Game, the most electrifying man in media today. And I tell you, the Knicks, man, if I had hair, I would pull it out. But thank God I ain't got none on top. But they don't make it easy. But again, like I said, it's gritty. You know, it's a blue collar, lunch pail type win, and they all count in the column. So we'll take it.
Yes, indeed. We'll definitely take it, man. And before we get into it, man, I want to apologize to everybody for last week, man. I did a little bit too much partying at the Giants game the day before, and I completely lost my voice. So I couldn't bring you guys a show last week. I mean, we had a lot to talk about. We're definitely going to talk about it today. Like Kev said, gritty win today. You know, they don't all come pretty. You know what I mean? We won the game. We're supposed to win the games that we should be winning. And tonight was a step in the right direction, coming off the little losing streak that we did have. But without any further ado, Kev, the Knicks did win tonight, 92-84. Tough fought game. You know, they started, the second half flat again, which seems to be a trend, going on with the team.
Right.
But nonetheless, Derrick Rose and Emmanuel quickly saved the day, quickly finished the game with a team high 16 points and 5 rebounds. Derrick Rose chipped in 14 points, grabbed 5 rebounds, and dished 7 assists as well. On the Indiana side of things, Malcolm Brogdon, another day at the office for him, 22 points, 8 assists. And Domantas Sabonis had a monster game on the inside, gave the Pacers 21 points and grabbed 15 boards. But outside of the regular box score, Kev, what was it that you really seen tonight that brought the game home for the Knicks?
Well, again, like I said, Steels, it came down to defense tonight. I mean, he won't show up on the stat sheet, but Taj Gibson, the pride of Brooklyn, he came through tonight, big game. Rebounds, defensive presence. We didn't have Nerlens has been out. Mitch has had the issue. So we had to go big with Taj, and Taj came up strong. Again, just showing that grit. And I think, again, the Knicks are still finding an identity. I know, the first few games, people were enamored with the threes, and I get it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's the way you play basketball these days. But there's something to be said about that grit, that toughness. I think that Thibodeau style team that they want to mold. And I think, again, it's going to start with those type of guys, those Tib type guys, Taj, D Rose. And like I said, again, big shout out to Taj tonight. Won't show on the stat sheet, but was the heart and soul, especially in that fourth quarter coming down the stretch.
Absolutely. Yeah. Taj Gibson was the heart and soul of the team last night. We lost Mitchell Robinson early in the game with an ankle injury. Again, I mean, we're holding our breath. Hopefully it's nothing lingering from his prior ankle injury. We hope for a speedy recovery, but nonetheless, Taj Gibson held it down, played some big minutes for us tonight. But the biggest thing for us this game, and it's been big for us this whole season, is our bench, man. 44 points off the bench. You know what I mean? We outscored Indianapolis's bench 44-13. The starters only scored 38 points, led by Kemba Walker with 16, and Julius Randle only had 11 points. I mean, Kev, we may have to start shuffling some players around. Tibbs is gonna have to get to a crossroad enough trying to figure it out because the team is pretty much the same as last year. Only two exceptions is Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier,
Right.
who have both been kind of struggling these last few games. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, again, I don't wanna jump out the window yet, Steels. I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think it's still a work in progress.
Uh-huh.
With some of these things, just to feel. I know the whole thing with Fournier and RJ the other day with the comments from Tibbs.
Yes.
It's still a feel out. But again, like I said, sometimes you just rely on the guys with the hot hand. Obviously IQ came up big tonight.
Big time.
Defense is coming on. No, the bench is coming on really well. But I
Absolutely.
don't want to throw out the window just yet. It just seems like Julius is going through a little bit of a slump, but it's not affecting him throughout the game. Again, Julius still had 11 boards tonight. So
Yes.
he's still active, but we need more from him. We need that 2020 Julius. And that yet hasn't really kind of stuck out just yet. So I'm not ready to kind of go crazy with it. 8-6 on the year. A couple of games I think we gave away with not holding leads. The game of a night in Charlotte was really hard because I think that's something that you gotta win those games when you had that type of advantage. You
Yes.
can't lose that type of turnaround. But I'm just not ready to give it up yet. Again, like I think it's still some time, process,
Uh-huh.
growth, and I think again, last year how we took on that great, one of those most games toward down the stretch. So
Yes.
it's just some time, but not just yet. I think again, you're happy for the bench, but let's not do 360s just yet. We're all right. We're all right. It's gonna happen.
Uh, Kev, I
Patience,
love you,
patience.
my brother. I love it. But in New York,
I
we
know.
do not have patience. It can change in a New York minute, and it has, because if you look at a lot of the blogs, and I'm a part of a lot of these Knicks blogs. Shout out to
Hmm.
Knicks Nation. Shout out to Knicks Click. Shout out to all these people that's out there with these different blogs. A lot of people are starting to look at Julius, and they're starting to use the villain name around here these days
Yeah.
of Mello, ISO ball. And there were a couple points in this game, and this is on Tibbs as well. You're putting the basketball in your poorest decision maker's hands.
Yeah.
In terms of Julius Randle is kind of limited on offense in regards to his game on top at the perimeter. He's always getting the ball up top. He's turning around, trying to back his man down. He backs himself into a double team.
Yeah.
And he tries to get fancy with the ball, and then he throws the ball away, and it just deflates the team. And then it led to an easy basket on the other end, and Tibbs called a timeout because he was so livid that it happened. And
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to my brother Mike Ray. We see you, bro. What's going on?
Peace, brothers. Peace, peace.
What's up, Mike? What you think about tonight's game, bro?
Uh, I mean, I liked what I saw. There's some basic things I wanted to see.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to see Tibbs stop playing around and stick with who works.
Yes.
And I thought he did that.
Yes.
I thought though that lineup was a tad non-conventional for. Let me see what my notes because I took notes.
Let's go. That's what we do.
Remy and Hard Will got me taking notes.
Let's go.
Um, but there's a good 3 minute stretch in the
Uh-huh.
fourth where Tibbs was running Alec Burks,
At the one.
and Burks's primary job was you stay in Malcolm Brogdon's face, and I
Yes.
thought that contributed to the success that we had. I think one of the things that we overlook is that at any given time, first lineup or second lineup, from the two guard spot or the off guard spot or whatever we call it since it's positionless basketball,
Yes.
Knicks have somebody who, if not a 1A ball handler, is at least a 1B, right? So,
Yes.
and I think what you noticed with them was once Burks, started making life difficult for Malcolm Brogdon,
Yes.
then Karis LeVert is more of a get his own off the bounce, but doesn't really get anybody else moving. And I think you saw pieces where Indiana just, was pretty much one shot and done if they got a shot up. Because I mean, they what are we talking about? 6 for 21 in the fourth, something crazy like that. Like they had no buckets, and I thought a lot of that contributed once you shut Brogdon down.
Yes.
Whereas conversely, if D Rose, you saw it, D Rose, though your primary ball handler in theory,
Yes.
a lot of that he was playing off of either Burks coming across from the pinch post, or Quick moving around the perimeter. You know what I'm saying? You had three dudes that got the other two dudes basically involved, and I thought that was a big difference.
It definitely was. Definitely
Yeah,
was.
no doubt.
Man. It was that, but the problem that we continue to have, and this is why I said to Kev before you got on, man, Tibbs got to think about trying to make some shuffling and some adjustments in that starting lineup, because Kemba started the game off hot, just like he did in Charlotte tonight. Started the game off hot. I think he scored the Knicks' first 6 points, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Second half, 8 points, correct. The second half, they started out slow, went down 12, started off the third quarter flat, and things started to change once Tibbs brought Obi in the game, brought D Rose back in the game, and then the ball started moving. It wasn't sticking, and guys were getting easy baskets. You see, Obi caught a couple of alley-oops, went to the basket.
Obi caught a body.
Yeah, he caught a body tonight.
He caught a body tonight.
and he pumped it, and he was surprised, like, oh, I got one,
Right.
So Tibbs has to really figure out something, man, because it's obviously something going on in the backcourt, and it starts on the defensive end with Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier, because they were like turnstiles tonight. Karis LeVert, he was eating all night, and like you said, Mike, before Tibbs made the in-game adjustment to put Alec Burke on Brogdon was basically having a field day today, man. But what's your thoughts on just a lineup change? Do you think it's time for a shakeup in the starting lineup, or just
I think I believe. Well, it's a twofold answer. Me from the neck down wants the Alan Hahn proposal.
What did Hahn put out there?
Hahn put out, you pull out the two new additions, Kemba and Fournier, and you start D Rose and Quentin Grimes. Because as it stands now, Quentin Grimes, in my opinion, is your best perimeter defender at the guard spot.
Alan Hahn is trying to get ratings, man. No.
Listen. That's me. That's me from the neck down. Me from the neck up. I have no problems with Kemba starting. You can hide one dude. You can't hide two.
Yes.
And then you got a third dude who's really learning to defend a position from angles he's never had to before. Yeah. Right? So what I would like to see is you keep Kemba, you set Fournier, you start Quentin Grimes, you leave the second unit intact. And if you need to go to the previously prescribed Elfrid Payton philosophy, you get 4 trips up the floor and come sit down over here with me, then you could go that with a Quentin Grimes, because it's no harm, no foul. He's a rookie. You ain't hurting nobody's feelings.
Please keep don't mention that man, Elfrid Payton. Please don't say that, Mike.
Keep in mind now that last year for Boston, it was Brown, Tatum, and you had Fournier was coming up off the pine, because he wasn't going to take minutes from Jaylen Brown. He wasn't going to take minutes from Smart. He wasn't going to take minutes from Tatum. So he got off the pine. Now, are you feel some kind of way having to give a dude $19 million who's getting up off the bench? That's the price of shooting in the NBA. That's your premium. Look what Terrence Ross got. Look what Norman Powell got. You know what I'm saying? And that's not even talking about, look at your CJ McCollums, look at your Bradley Bills, even look at your Levines. You know what I'm saying? So I got no issue with the 19. He needs to come off the pine. This way, you have a defensive liability in Kemba. I can hide Kemba between Grimes and Arjun.
I see you, Kev. I see you, Kev. Go ahead, Kev. Go, Kev.
Knicks fans, look at me. Look at me. It's 14 games in. No, nobody wants to mention this man's name now because he's lying about COVID, but I'm going to take a name out, the great Aaron Rodgers, or maybe not so great Aaron Rodgers. Relax. Relax. It's okay. There's no drastic needs yet. This is not like, the Larry Brown Knicks. This is not the Fizdale Knicks. It's okay. Listen, we're going to have some moments. This is a process. It's a marathon, not a sprint. 14 games in, 8-6. The shots will come. Things will start to develop. I respect my brother Mike. Leave Fournier in the front in the starting lineup. We know we got the two-headed monster at point guard. Grimes is just going to fit in, get in where he fits in.
They need to figure out something for him.
Right.
Okay.
They'll find something for him, but stay with that. 14 games in, guys. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Still a better record than we had 14 games in last year.
Exactly. We'll be fine. Again, like I said, we just had a couple lulls on a couple of games. If that doesn't happen, you win a few games here or there, and you're 10-4. Nobody's saying that. Just it's okay. It's okay. I know. I'm from New York too. I get it. Bronx born and bred.
Let's
go. Gotta be a little bit patient with this thing. It will be fine.
So let me pose this question.
Go ahead, Mike.
Are we feeling more optimistic now that at least the past 3 games we got the Emmanuel quickly of last year?
Yes, definitely. That was the key. First few games of the year, he was in the sophomore blues. He started to get his swagger back after he saw Calipari last week. Maybe that all helped him out, and now he's feeling good. Yes, I think what you get with that second unit, you get that injection, but you get, Obi's getting at the garden lit up. He's doing his things, limited minutes, quickly shooting. D Rose plays well with those guys.
Yes.
I think it's fine. I think, again, sometimes, by trying to maneuver and bringing guys into the starting lineup, you lose that punch. You want that punch because, again, and tonight being a perfect example, that punch along with Taj Gibson helped us get the W.
Absolutely, man. Again, the Knicks bench had 44 points tonight, man. Indianapolis bench only had 13 points, man. But our starters only had 38 points, which leads me to Julius Randle. Is something going on up here? It's either he's on these blogs under an alias name, going back and forth with fans, and he's trying to come out and prove people wrong. But he has been playing horrible as of late, and it's looking like how he looked in Atlanta during that playoff series. Like he can't figure out his rhythm. He can't get himself into a good rhythm. And once they take away his strong suits, he's like a fish out of water. And I get what you're saying about tinkering with the point guard play, because I was against Derrick Rose being put into the starting lineup during the playoffs last year because it threw off everything that they did all year. And it showed its ugly head when Derrick Rose ran out of gas, the Knicks ran out of gas, and Atlanta ran them out of the building. But I do feel that we have to get Grimes or McBride some minutes, man, because I think it's some untapped gems there that can really help this team in the middle of the game. When the team is like in a slump, slide a couple of those guys in, throw one in the starting lineup, add one to that bench mob and see what happens. I just don't think that Tibbs is digging enough, man, and he's stuck in his old way of thinking with this new style of basketball that we have today in today's game, man. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Well, I'll start off with Julius. I think this is kind of maybe the first time in his career that he's kind of like the guy. Like remember, if we go back to the beginning of last year, the reason why Obi got drafted 8 is because they were looking to make Julius trade out of New York. That was a gem that happened, blossomed, and now we have a guy that's kind of a borderline superstar. I think sometimes we got to understand certain players don't necessarily deal well with that. I think, again, this is a process for him. I do believe he'll get it right because he's still engaged in the game. It's not like he's sulking, he's not he's doing other things. So I think he's got to realize that you are the go-to guy on this team, and maybe for the first time coming into a season, coming into a situation, you are looked upon as that. What you did last year was something that of a breath of fresh air. It wasn't really expected, but now you have to take on that responsibility, and it might be an adjustment, but I do believe he will get it right. I'm truly believe that he will get that together and come out of the doldrums and maybe stop selling for the threes. I know they want to shoot more threes, but it does make me cringe a little bit when he's, pulling up the 3 points, unlike, when you can do other things on the floor.
Absolutely. Mike, what you think about that?
I think that the best I've seen Randall play was the pass out of the double team that he threw the quick in the corner for the 3.
Yes.
And I think that if you notice, like let me go some numbers here still. Let me go some numbers.
Let's go.
The Knicks second unit has a plus of 78.
Woo.
That unit has the best plus minus in the NBA. And that's not the Knicks second unit versus other teams' second units. There are first units in that equation.
Wow.
The most efficient ball moving, point scoring, pace setting unit in the NBA is the Knicks second unit at plus 78. Wow. Here's the microcosm of that. The Knicks starting unit is at the bottom of the same algorithm at a negative 48. Here's why I'm encouraged, because that 48 is deceiving. If you watch these dudes, what you really seeing is Kemba trying to get his off, but know he has to defer.
Absolutely.
Fournier is a deer in headlights. It's real. You got Mitch, who, for all intents and purposes, 78. What he going? 7 months?
Yeah.
Some crazy amount of time he done lost. He's trying to deal into a new body.
Yeah.
And then here you have RJ, who can't horse threes the way he would just totally little schoolgirl twos. So it's a tale of two teams, because that first unit is like dudes playing pickup at the Y that you just trying to get to know. The second unit, you know how it is. Still, we ball before. You know how it is. You play with a dude 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. Yeah. After a while, you throwing passes to places that you don't even see. You just know the dudes are there.
Absolutely.
And I think that Randall's part of this is he's trying too hard. And when he tries too hard, his bad habits show like pink spray paint on a black dress. And so then he goes back to the, his Tasmanian devil swirling dervish spins in the lane. He gets at least 3-foot tricks per game. You know what I'm saying? I think that first unit is pressing too hard. And they're pressing because if you watch the first game, you watch the Boston game, and that first Philly game, dudes were still floating on cloud 9. Absolutely. Now they see what it is, and now it's like, oh snap! Like when you met that chick, that bad chick, that really, really, really bad chick. It's after 10, so this ain't a family hour no more. You know how you met that bad chick and ended up at the telly, and then woke up in the middle of the night to revel in the destruction. Like, oh wait, no, I really am here with this chick. Like, yo, like that's where they are. I really think that's where they are. But keep in mind, I have one addendum.
Let's go.
If they or Tibbs, if Tibbs don't make a move because they don't get it right, come trade deadline.
Thank you.
Leon, Wes, and Perry are going to make it right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I mean, a lot of what you were just explaining, man, I think that falls on Tibbs as well, man. Like, he should have learned from last year's playoff series, because a lot of teams are doing exactly what Atlanta did to the Knicks last year with Julius Randle. And they keep having him bring the ball up, run the offense. Like I was telling Kev earlier, why are you putting the ball in your worst decision maker's hands? Like, how are we initiating the offense when we have 2 point guards on the floor with him? Why are you letting him set up the offense? It doesn't make any sense. Julius should be down low, giving dudes that work with that chiseled up frame that he worked on last year when he came back in the camp. Well, when Tibbs came and he came back in the camp in the best shape of his life, and he had that all-star season, he should be utilizing that body down low, man. And I don't think that he does it enough. I think that he's too perimeter oriented for my taste now. It's like he's trying to be a Kevin Durant, and he's not that. He's not in that realm yet, man. And I just think that Tibbs needs to help him simplify the game and not take so many contested jump shots. Stop trying to create offense from the perimeter. Like, it was a play when they just went backwards. Like, they just kept handing the ball off, but they were moving backwards instead of forwards. I was ready to pull my hair out, Kev. I was ready to literally cut all my hair off. Like, after seeing that, you're laughing because you know exactly what I'm talking about. They backed all the way up from the 3-point line, damn near the half court before they started the offense with about 7 seconds left. You can't have that. That's on coaching. X's and O's. Like, so, I don't know what needs to be done, but Tibbs has to do something, man. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Kev?
Well, again, I totally hear what you're saying, Steels. Again, and I'm going to revert back to 14 games again. Again, we got Houston. Who we got coming in? Orlando and Houston on the next 2 games. And in my opinion, Orlando beat us once this year. I think we'll 2 get right games, if I call it that.
Yes.
Before we we go to Chicago and get the Lakers next week. I do believe, again, this will get together. The Knicks as a philosophy want to shoot more threes. So this is something that's being practiced. Even when Obi takes a 3, I cringe. Like, oh my God, like, please.
Yeah,
so So again, the things run through Julius. I think again, I think as Mike said, he's doing too much. Maybe he again believe in the fact that he's the go-to guy or the leader of the team. And again, trying to just get back into a flow, get back to just playing team basketball.
Yeah.
I think it will happen. Again, 14 games in, I'm not too disappointed. Couple games, like I said, we should have won.
Yeah.
Probably we're not even having this conversation if we know 10-4. But again, we'll be fine. Things will start to get together. Again, when you look at a game like tonight where a team only scores 2 points in the fourth quarter, that's all grit. It's not always going to be a Picasso. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to dig it out. And tonight, that was a dig out. And I'm feeling good about this team moving forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what's your thoughts on this Mitchell Robinson situation? He's hurt again. Nerlens Noel is out. Is Robinson the center of the future for us?
I think Mitch, and I've said this before in other programs, I think Mitch just, some people, like Anthony Davis, there's some guys that just like really like clumsy. I know he's a professional athlete, so don't get me wrong, but it just seemed like Mitch over his first 14 games, every other game he gets hurt, he limps off, and he's got to get in the locker room and comes back. So I just think that there is some balance issues with him just as an individual. Even the way he walks pigeon-toed, like he's always, like he's got Fred Sanford feet. So I just think that, again, I'm not 100% sold if he's the future. Again, you got to make a decision on him contract-wise.
Yeah.
I am not sold on it yet. I think the jury's still out, and I think if you ask the brass at MSG, they probably would say the same thing, that they still need to see some things, which is kind of hard to say for a guy who's been in the program a couple years. But I am not, as of tonight, ready to say that he's the future.
Ooh, Mike, what you think about that?
Steels, allow me to resort back to a bars and hoops Nick Nation talk we had about a month ago, before the season start. When I told you, I told you and the rest of the listening public, that to really go to the next level, your best ability is availability.
Yeah, absolutely, you did say
Mitch's ability availability is not his best ability. It's just
Absolutely.
a step above his jump shot. So therefore, with
Wow.
that being the case, as I told you before, who I wanted, you saw him tonight.
Oh God.
3.2 blocks per game, leads the league. And as you saw the last time we played the Pacers, when he get rolling from the 3-point line,
Uh,
he's the second coming of Sam Perkins.
the
So
glass
therefore,
fell off.
so therefore, I'm talking my man Turner.
God, the glass Jordan fell off tonight, brother. 7 o'clock.
Listen,
Turned back into a
listen.
pumpkin.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. But again, I'd rather have a glass slipper than a pumpkin than just crickets and an empty chair, which is Mitch.
After
Crickets
Tobin
and an
worse than a
empty
gremlin.
chair.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, Miles has his moments. I don't know if he's the answer either. There's a guy in Minnesota, if they can ever pry away, would be the only big guy that I would take. And I think the Knicks do have the equity to make that type of deal. I
100%.
can't see the Pacers and Knicks making a doing a belly dance in the same conference, but I'm just not sold on Mitch. And again, you normally when you have a guy that's long in this amount of time in the program, you have an idea, but he's still kind of he's still got things to prove. And I think again, as you said, Mike, you gotta if you ain't on the court, you can't make the club in the tub. You can't ask for that big dollars.
What's the Bill Walsh adage? If you have two quarterbacks, you have none.
Yes.
That's kind of where we are. You got two injured centers. You ain't got none.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, do we ever? First of all, I probably argue that Nerlens probably didn't need to come back to begin with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So now he's gone for some indiscriminate amount of time. A dude who already has had ACL and knee injuries. Right. Right. Forget the age. Chronologically, he's 26. Physically, he's probably about the same age as Derrick Rose is chronologically. That body is probably early 30s.
That's a fact.
Early to mid 30s. Is there another big that fits the bill for what we really need, which would be rim protection? Cat ain't it. 20 rebounds and 25 points a night. I get that. Yeah. But they ain't one block, and I ain't never seen nobody other than Joel Embiid that's probably got a little trepidation with Cat. Other than that, he not scared. He not scared nobody.
But he's skilled, Mike. I mean, listen, he's skilled, absolutely, man. He does all the things you need a big guy to do in today's game. We're not. Absolutely. I know we're older guys, so sometimes we like to revert back to different styles of basketball. But the way the game is played today, man, this guy, you probably would look. He might be a top 5 player if you were starting a team today. Absolutely. You might go with him number 1.
So who you moving for?
Well, it's going to take some pieces. Yeah. Let's be honest, and I think that's why the Knicks is set up that way. And again, kudos to to Leon and the group, because they've set themselves up for a big trade. And it's only two guys right now in this league. If you're going to make that deal and move some pieces, the kid in Portland and that kid in Minneapolis. That's the only place you go to Lake Minnetonka and go dive in that water and make a deal. And you're going to have some, heart and soul pieces and have to make that move. But again, if we're looking at 8 and 6 and saying this is not good enough, then that is the only thing we could do is go after one of those two pieces. So again, like I said, I know we're all Knicks fans, and we was having this conversation 2 years ago. We were like, listen, we be doing cartwheels at 8 and 6. Yes. So we have to kind of like pace it back a little bit, because again, we know the real fans know this is not a championship team.
Absolutely.
We know that our goal right now, we go top 4, top 5. We're happy with that. Absolutely. So in order to take that next step, which I think, a Cat would do, or certainly if we got a Dame Lillard in here, which I think right now, if you're watching what he's doing, he's just going through the motions. It's just self-explanatory. Yeah. Those would be the two steps that you have to make. But then, again, you're going to have to take some emotional pieces as Knicks fans, we get tired of some of these guys, but it's a few guys that we mentioned tonight that will be in those packages. No question about it.
Hey, you guys read my mind, man. You guys read my mind. That was definitely gonna be one of my final words. We still gonna get to the final words, but do you like? Obviously, the team's biggest glaring weakness right now is the defensive end, and people are saying because we don't have Bullock and we don't have Peyton on the team anymore, they were two of our better defenders, that the team isn't playing defense. I think that it's a reflection of how the offense is flowing, and guys are just like deflated off of turnovers or bad shots being taken, and then they're just not giving the effort on the defensive end.
Look at the body language. Look at the body language.
Yeah, it's the body language to me. But go ahead, Mike, elaborate on that, please.
Yeah, listen, I totally agree. I think that, first of all, let's size this up. This Knicks team is the first Knicks team in a while where every game is legitimately 5-on-5, as opposed to last year where it was 3.5 against 5 at best. There are 6 things I watch 48 do almost every game, win, lose, or draw, that you never saw from Reggie Bullock.
That is a fact.
Right? And those are some of the differences, right? You know that you can no longer just put Trae Young on Reggie Bullock in the corner and let everybody else play and run. You know you can't do that. Fournier will take that kid to any school you wish, public, middle, or high school.
Absolutely.
Right? So you already know there's your addition by subtraction. Now, do you lose on the defensive end? I would say yes, but I would also say that we're not talking about Reggie Bullock as the second coming of Bruce Bowen, right? We ain't talking about the second coming of James Posey. Right? We talking about a solid defender who just made dudes work. He ain't shut nobody down. And Elfrid Payton, sorry, Kev, I know that's a curse word around here, but Elfrid Payton, who, I used to think he froze dudes out. He didn't froze nobody out. Making passes that are necessities are just not in his game.
Yeah.
So I can't be mad at you because you don't put me a pinpoint pass to a wide open man in the corner. That ain't your game. That ain't never been your game.
Absolutely.
So I would say that while I do miss what they bought on the defensive end, you bring them back. You're going back to Julius having to take 50 shots a night, and you don't win a game like this, like you won tonight.
Absolutely. Wow, man. So do you think that the guys are like sort of tuning Tibbs out a little bit?
Nah, not yet. Not when you listen to you can't listen to the regular TV interviews. You got to catch you got to go online, catch the SMY when they over up in Greenberg, and you got to talk to them dudes. Them dudes are talking about, we come back to the gym after every game. Coach is in his office. He sees them, they see him. They respect that. They're not tuning them. They're not tuning them out yet, because even they know that they got dudes, especially on that first unit, that are still trying to figure it out. Now, if they all figured it out and it still wasn't working, then by all means, somebody gonna go. What they gonna do is they're not gonna tune Tibbs out. They're gonna go talk to the hood upstairs. They're gonna go talk to Wes, right? That's who they're gonna talk to.
Absolutely.
They're gonna talk to old Greasy.
And that's the good thing about it. 8-6, you still haven't got it right, and you're 8-6, and you still have a lot to improve. You still haven't had the Picasso performance. You still haven't done, the great mural. It's okay. Like I said again, we as fans, we want it now. We listen. As old as I am, we want. I was like, I'm showing my age. I was 2 years old. I didn't even know the Knicks when last time they won a championship. So again, we want it. But again, this is a process. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I know I'm repeating myself.
No.
But at 14 games, it's all right. we'll get it together. We're nowhere near we need to be, and we're still okay. So I
And
tell the
lest we
fan
not
base to relax.
forget, let's not forget the league, especially the East, is draped in parity.
Correct.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
There is no runaway. What are we? 14 games in. There is no 13-1 team here on this side. Now, we have some teams that can get it rolling. Yeah, that's possible. But the
Yeah,
league is draped in parity. Everybody's better than they were last year, just
yeah,
about in the East. Look at Cleveland, right? Take
Very good
Even
team.
even without dude with the torn MCL or the meniscus or whatever Sexton tore. Look at how they balling, right?
yeah,
Look at what the Wizards are doing with Dimwitty. Like
yeah,
there are no, even the Pistons now that Cade Cunningham is back. Like,
yep,
yo, you got parity all the way through. Everybody got some bad flaws.
yes,
Everybody got some things that you can hang your hat on. That's why no lead is safe. And every night, though we look at it from a Knicks perspective, and you see dudes getting their rocks off who got no business getting their rocks off. You
uh,
watch other games, you got dudes in other games who got no business getting their rocks off, who are
yeah,
getting their rocks off. So it's draped in parity. Now we talking the West, that's different. Because I got news for you. Whatever the NBA Finals is going to be this year, the true winners coming out the West. And if Golden State keep it cooking the way they rolling,
yeah. They
with them
lost.
two rookies that they added,
Yes,
yo,
Yeah, they
yo,
look like the
that's
team to beat out West.
yeah,
And I would almost argue to some folks that the East right now might be a tougher conference because of the parity. When you have your defending champions at 6-8 and the Hawks at 5-9, I
Ooh.
mean, think about that. I mean,
Yeah,
and then what
yeah,
Washington has done. I mean, the Lakers have given Washington life. I mean, if you think
that's
about
true.
that trade there, the Westbrook trade for the collection of guys that Washington
Yes,
got, has put them in a good position. So again, it's a long season. Ask Atlanta how they feel. As the Greek Freak how he feels right now under 500.
that is true.
So again, there's a lot to work on. Again, still the cohesion. Fournier, I think, will figure it out. I believe in Kemba, proud of Rice High School. I
There we go.
believe
The
in him.
Bronx.
And
Yes, sir.
and so I'm okay with the 8-6. A lot of room to improve, but what I am impressed with is the bench. Because again, when you get that influx of energy coming off the bench, now you're cooking with grease. Your stars will get it right, but that bench right now, I wouldn't change a thing.
Nah, not at all. But like we keep saying it is only 14 games, and like you said, only 14 games. My biggest concern and what I'm gonna keep monitoring is Kemba's health because he already missed a game. I think he missed 2 games already during the season. And that's just something to watch because
Yeah.
he's playing a major role. He's our starting point guard. And again, we know that we can't run Derrick Rose into the ground again because we see what happened when he ran out of gas in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Knicks went flat and then we went
Point guard
nowhere.
by committee.
Yes.
listen. I think we agree. Like we needed to see D Rose get capped at no more than 25 minutes,
Absolutely.
right? 22 to 25.
Absolutely.
That's when he's his most effective, and obviously, not on back to backs. Now, if you
Absolutely.
notice, quickly coming around. Quickly's getting his shot back. If you notice, Alec Burks, your point guard in an emergency, right? So
Mhm.
what you saw tonight, if you look at the stat line, is
Mhm.
that D Rose gave you 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Everybody else made up the rest of the time. And that's the
Absolutely.
formula for relative success, in
Absolutely.
my opinion, and let Kemba come around. And as we've seen in the last 2 games, Kemba's starting to come around a little bit. You saw Kemba clown him on the
In and out.
baseline
Yeah,
tonight.
that in and out. That in and out was sick.
That in and out was. Listen, I saw Rucker Park. That was straight Rucker Park on the baseline. I was skipped to my loo. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Oh,
So I
yeah.
think that I
Oh,
think that we
baby.
really, yeah, right. We really have to give them 14 games. We have to stand by that. Now we
Absolutely.
get to 24 games. and we still got this here tomfoolery. We get to 38 games and we still got this here. Now, now we got cause for concern. But then again, like I said earlier, I believe that they understand what they're working with, and they're not going to let this ship sink. So come All-Star break, if Leon Rose and them got to make a move, they're going to make a move.
And let's talk about that, because Evan Fournier did say some interesting things earlier. Like you said, Kev, 14 games in, and he already feels that way, and he's the new guy here.
Yeah.
That doesn't bode well, because it may be some stuff that the team is keeping under wraps and keeping in-house. So it could be a little tension and friction inside the locker room early. And like Mike said, Leon and Wes, come All-Star break, man, they might just have to pull it. And I just think that they have so much talent that they have enough pieces to really make an impactful trade and still not hurt the core and at least the future of this team.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So do we need to make a move this season? Even though it's still early, hypothetically, like if we have the opportunity to improve our team based off of what we see going on around the league with certain star players that aren't happy in their situations, and more than likely they're going to get traded before the deadline, should the Knicks look at those situations and make a move if it presents itself?
I'm a believer you always got to be a buyer, because again, if the goal is again to have the Canyon Heroes throwing confetti, you got to be aggressive and make moves. I think that's why, again, the Kemba situation, while yes, he's our starting point guard, it's a fan-friendly deal. We know what we have with some of the younger kids that we can make moves. We know we have with our draft equity. So there's a lot of pieces, and we got a lot of moving parts that we can do it. And again, like I said, if you can get the private guy from the Pacific Northwest,
let's go,
or that kid in Minnesota, you make that move, because again, those opportunities are going to be there. Like I said, Portland will have their moments, and they will start to drift. I think again, that could be something that could be had down the road. I think you got to continue to make the team better. This team here, while I'm happy with it, 14 games, what have you. And maybe that's why I'm not so going crazy, because I know what the limitations are. Gotcha. Julius Randle is a good player, but he's not a one on a championship team. It just is what it is. So I think, again, if you get one of those two opportunities, while it might be some prying away from emotional standpoint, we're going to let this – you gotta try to get better. And that's what it's all about in the NBA, try to win a championship. So if those opportunities open up, Steals, go for it.
Mike?
I second that. As much as listen, you make the right deal for the right person. One thing I can guarantee is it's gonna hurt. Right? So I can guarantee it. There's no other way around. Listen, I can pull this scab, this Band-Aid off slow, or I can snatch it. Whatever your choice is, but the bottom line is this thing gonna hurt regardless. So now, of course, you want to be prudent. I don't want to see a Obi go. I don't want to see a Quickly go at all. But I tell you what, if I woke up the next day, you told me Obi, Quick, 4 second rounders over the next 3 years, maybe 2 number ones, brought me back, something substantial. You know what I'm saying? Then I would. If you told me Fournier, 3 number 2s, 2 number 1, hypothetically, brought me back Paul George.
Huh?
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying as an example. No, I'm not saying. Bring me Paul George.
I know that.
I don't want Paul George.
We don't need him. No way.
No. What I am saying to you, if you brought me back a player of a similar caliber to meet a need that I have, so now you gave me a 6'7", 6'8" dude I could sit at the 3. And put RJ back where he belongs at the 2, and now have a potent defender at the 3, even if he was a 1A. So instead of having a 1, I got 2 2s. Then you make a move like that if I know it's going to make me a considerable improvement. That's my point. That's just a name that just fell out the sky. Because truth be told, he ain't never been who everybody thought he was be. once Danny Granger fell off. When the Pacers with Danny Granger and Paul George,
yeah,
and your man Lance, when that was a rookie, Lance Stevenson and the rest of them, when that's when Paul George was Paul George. But no, I'm just saying that you need to make a move that's going to be a substantial needle mover. If you're going to start giving up Obi, Quick, picks, whatever.
Timberwolves are 4-8. Keep watching that. Just keep watching what they do, because when it gets cold in Minnesota, January, February, you might have to make that move to bring that kid home.
Yes, indeed. So that leads us into the final part of our show, man. This is a new wrinkle I'm adding to the show, Mike. It's called the final words, man. So if you had the ability to pull one player, or GM or coach to the side and give them some friendly advice, who would it be, and what would you say to them? Kev, let's start with you.
GM, any GM or
in the Knicks organization, I should say. If you had the ability to pull one of them to the side, give them a little pep talk, a little boost, or a little something to help the team get better, who would it be, and what would you say to them?
Well, I probably would go to Leon and say, don't get complacent. Sometimes you can get caught up with the 18,000 in the stands and all the celebrities in the seats and say, you know what, we've done something. You really haven't done anything. We've seen this situation happening before with Donnie Walsh. I don't want to be marginal. I want to win. So I need you to stay and keep focused on what's going on around the league. Again, I'll say it again. It's two guys, and there are only two guys that I would jump out the window for: Damian Lillard and Cat. Those two guys, I would jump out the window. So I would just tell Leon, if I had an ear for 10 seconds, don't get complacent. This is nice. I like it. I like the energy. I like the 18,000. I like Obi doing the windmill dunks. I love it. I love the Knick dances. I get it. I love to see, Chris Rock on front row. But just keep the focus about winning a title. Because if you come here and win a championship, you become legendary. Mark Messier never paid for another meal again in his life here in New York City. When we see the Rangers, I don't really follow hockey. The Rangers, that was over 20 years ago. Yeah. So if we get the same situation with the Knicks, we'll be fine. So stay aggressive, and keep your eye on what's going on around the league. And like I said again, let's win a championship, not just get to the second round.
That's a fact, man. And that was who my guy was. That's why I said you was reading my mind. Because when I made this up, I said Leon Rose is my guy. Get Towns and get Lillard. Bottom line. And think about it, man. Like you just said, man, winning here in New York, not just in New York, but for the Knicks. What's our record? 8-4. The Nets are 10-4. Nobody's talking about the fact that Kevin Durant and James Harden is across the bridge.
Nobody talks about.
Nobody even talks about them.
I do a national show once in a while, and I tell people all the time, because you on a national level, they go, oh, the Nets. I said the Nets play in obscurity. They ain't witness protection in Brooklyn. Nobody's following the Nets. And they have, again, arguably two of the top 10 players in the league on one floor every night, and they gotta beg people to come to their arena. So let's just say what it is. This is a Knick town, and will always be blue and orange. And when this town is rocking, even as last year, just being a 4 seed. The city went crazy. So this is a Knick town, and always be that. The Nets are just renting space.
Absolutely. Mike, who's your person? Who you taking, man? Who you gonna give a pep talk to?
I'm probably gonna pull Julius aside.
I'm
gonna say, look here, brother. At any given point in time, from the free throw line extended down, you are the best post player in the game. You are not the best perimeter shooter in the game. You're not even the best shooting big man in the game.
Far from it.
But from 16, from the free throw line extended down, pinch post, whatever y'all want to call that space where Melo used to operate, you, sir, are a horse running with chickens. All right, stop it. Stop all that other stuff. Make the game easier for yourself. Stop it. Stop
Absolutely.
it. Stop it. Let these dudes do what they can do, and you do what you known to do. And it's remember they double teaming you for a reason in the post.
Exactly.
Just remember that. They double teaming you for a reason. Because can't nobody can't do what we used to say? Can't nobody do you none. They can't do you none. Put that work in, son. Go back down there. Go back down there in the paint.
No question, man. So, we come to the end of the show, man. We got a couple of good ones coming up, man, as far as games, like Kev said earlier. We got the Magic coming in, we got the Rockets coming in, and then we got the Bulls. All winnable games, man, to get the fan base back, lit the fire under them again, man, and get us back on track. And hopefully we won't have to have this conversation next week about who we need to get rid of, or did the players tune Tibbs out and all this other nonsense. But I'm enjoying it thus far, man. I know you guys are enjoying it thus far. It's been a long time since we had good problems because the team in prior years weren't having this much success this early, man.
We
and
were thinking about the draft at this point.
Exactly. I'm glad we didn't get Zion Williamson. I seen him at the end of the bench today looking like Stay Puft for real, man. It's bad.
Michelin man. The Michelin man.
Yeah, he's looking like Mike Sweetney 2.0, man. Oliver Miller, man. This is bad, man. I know they feel it, but I don't know if that's his exit plan out of New Orleans and then get the way he wants to go, then turn into that guy. But it doesn't look like it, man. For real.
I can't regret not taking John Moran, huh?
Oh my God.
But you know what, real quick before we get out of here, talking about Zion again, like I said, if we go back to when Zion was at Duke, it was a phenomenon. So when you think about it, what the Pelicans did, it was all about money. Who could turn around that number one pick? But it's how fast that's changed when you look at that draft and go, wow, what could have been. And it's unfortunate too. I think he's a good kid. I just think that it's unfortunate.
Yeah, too much crawfish down there, man.
Beignets.
Yeah,
It's them beignets back there, Cafe Du Monde. And that iced coffee is too much.
Gumbo every night, huh?
Popeyes in the French Quarter is the original Popeyes restaurant. The chicken don't taste the same as it do over there.
He should have took a cue from Kyle Kuzma and got himself a chef. You know when Kyle Kuzma just came out and said that the first thing I did when I made my money, I got myself a chef. I was tired of eating McDonald's and Wendy's. That's what and again, I know there's a lot of issues with the management and Zion's family, and they need to, like I said again, he doesn't want to be there. And you know what, Steels, you might be right. That might be his exit strategy to go high cholesterol. And get himself out of New Orleans.
Red beans and rice.
His Gatorade container got sweet tea in it. Everybody else got water and Gatorade. He got sweet tea.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, man. Yo, so fellas, man, thank you for putting on a great show today, man. Thank you to everybody that was tuning in today on Facebook. Thank you to everybody tuning in on YouTube, live on barsandhoopsradio.com. Don't forget, every Monday, 10 to 11, Knicks Talk Nation Radio, featuring myself, Mike Ray, Kev Pryor, Hard Will, and Jay Remy. So until next week, fellas, we say peace.
Salute.
Peace.
New York City. We back. The Big Apple. NY. The Knicks are back. Staten Mellow. This dedicated to my city, New York. Official kings in the court. Reach with a ball of hard nuts and gets taught. So bring your skills to the nearest playground. No clown around. Catch a helmet in a minute on a New York playground. The Big Apple's what they call it for short. And basketball is our sport. We play for keeps and never settle for short. So bring your game when you come to my town. We snatch and found you get embarrassed on the court after you shook to the ground. You get respected when you prove to get down. So say the joke for the clowns. And NYC, we known to go a few rounds. This is the city where you're forced to go hard. You'll get booed out of Dodge and shown the door being the weakest on squads. Rucker Park and summer nights, they stay live. Brothers play for the pride and bragging rights on who's the king of NY. So grab the pill and prepare to go hard. Pick your 12-man squad. Orange and blue, better believe we go hard. This for my city, New York City where it's gritty. Yeah. For my city, never pretty. New York, New York City, sing it with me. Yeah. For my city, New York. New York City, where it's gritty. NYC, for my city, never pretty. Yeah. New York City, sing it with me.